Hello to my YouTube channel that I haven't made any videos for 2 months. I'm still here, still doing harmonica stuff. I just wanted to put up a quick video now that I can, and talk about some updates, some things that I've gotten interested in the past few months that I've started doing, and just general update on stuff. Well, I just finished the harmonica lesson course that I bought. I, in essence, finished it a couple weeks ago, really. But I just went through a couple, the last of the little bonus lessons. So I've officially taken every little lesson that comes with it. If you're new to harmonica or want to learn to play the harmonica, the course is by J.P. Allen. You can get it where you actually get DVDs, or I think it's $50 cheaper if you just get the course and you can watch it on your computer, or from your mobile device or whatever, so you don't have to have DVDs with you. That's the option that I chose, and so I've done everything from my computer. Some of the stuff I already knew before I took the course, because I've been playing the harmonica, learning to play it for maybe 5 months, 4 or 5 months before I started playing it. But it was definitely worth the money. It was like $200 altogether. You can space that out. You have the option to space that out into payments, $40 a month, for 5 months. So it wasn't, it didn't hit my pocketbook all at once, so it was kind of nice. It's real basic, but it's real easy to follow. JP's seems like a real nice person. He's definitely got a different personality type than I do, but when it comes to teaching a harmonica and learning the basics and stuff, it's a very good course. Basically, for your $200, you get a bunch of you get 99 video lessons. They vary in length. Most of them are around 10 minutes. And you also get some extras, a bunch of practice books that you can download, some bonus video things that you can watch if you want to. So it's not bad for the money. It's a pretty good deal. And if you're wanting to play the harmonica, or you're just beginning and you're kind of frustrated, you haven't been able to find a lot of free stuff on the internet, it's a relatively inexpensive way to go. And unless you can find somebody locally that can teach you to play, that could be hit or miss. But there's a lot of there's stuff like that on the internet that's usually, from what I saw looking at stuff months ago, was more expensive anyway, and it was probably maybe not as thorough, not real technical. But as a harmonica, you don't really need the technical stuff. Next year, when I learn to play the guitar, I'll have more options to learn, avenues to go. And there's more stuff on the internet for the guitar, obviously, as opposed to the harmonica. But a good course, and I recommend it if that's something that you're interested in looking at. My biggest issue now going forward is probably just learning individual songs. I got a songbook, you can see it back there on the bed, but I got a lot of those things that came with the DVD course too, that have, you're starting off with your, your basic level songs, Mary Had a Little Lamb, all the way up to, learning some classical stuff and Christmas music and stuff like that. But I need to start learning individual songs. That's going to take me a little bit of time. But I can play the harmonica. I've demonstrated some minor stuff in some of my earlier videos, and I haven't really, let's that's really, it's not real precise as far as single notes and instrumentality goes. But I can do that kind of stuff. My biggest problem is I think it's a mental thing where I have an issue with improvising. I'm a real structural person. I'm a structural learner. But that's just something I'm going to have to work on to get over that. I know how to play the harmonica. I know the mechanics behind it, the breathing and all of that stuff. So I've got to learn individual songs and basically just practice the harmonica, learning individual songs, and then getting that basis under me. Because and I've talked about it briefly in other videos, my biggest issue going forward is I want to be a better player than I am. And I think that's probably normal for most people that are into things, that if you play an instrument and you like it, you want to be better at it than you are. Athletes, same kind of thing. But I've got an issue with patience in dealing with that, and I'm going to have to overcome that. And I'm kind of going back, now that I've gone through the course and I know the basics. I know how to play. I can play this instrument. I can play any harmonica that you put in front of me. I could even play some of the different kinds of harmonicas out there, like a tremolo harmonica or something like that. I could do that. Chromatic, I don't know. I've never played one of those yet. But I have toyed around with chromatics a little bit over the past couple months, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I've learned this instrument. I've learned how to play it, and it's been 6-7 months now. Going forward, I've got to develop patience to learn the skills that I need to be a better player. I've got to practice more than I have been. More about that in a minute. And just learn individual songs, and then I can learn to embellish those songs and do different things with them with the instrument. Because I think it's a basic thing with any kind of instrument, like the guitar or whatever. You got to learn the chords before you can start learning other stuff, and I'm kind of at that point now. I've learned the basics. I've learned how to play the chords. I know the mechanics, so now I need to learn songs. And then once I do that, I can build on that going forward and teach myself, all the fancy stuff that is cool about harmonica players. But after 7 months, I think I've progressed rather well. If you go back and you listen to my first video, trying to play single notes, in just 7 months, I can do all that other stuff. And now I can hit single notes, like nobody's business. It's second nature now, pretty much. So, as much as I have had issues with practicing over the past few months, I've progressed to the point where I can start to be a better player now, which is what I've wanted to be from the beginning anyway, which is why I wanted to learn to play instruments. Put that down. But more about that over the coming months. And anybody who, I've only got one channel subscriber, it's no big deal. That's not why I do this. But anybody who might see my videos and wonder what the heck is going on, blah, blah, blah. I've had a lot of health issues over the past couple months. And you may be able to tell, looking at me now, I'm on new medication for this throat issue that I've got. And I've been on that now for a week. And basically, it's like a super muscle relaxant. They give it to MS patients and other patients that suffer, those kind of diseases, so they can they don't tremble as much, that have muscle issues. Anyway, it's kind of really jacked me up over the past week, and I haven't played the harmonica hardly at all this past week. I just haven't had it in me. Today I kind of got a little fit of energy, so I've been practicing, finished up my lessons, and doing a few other things over the last hour and a half or so. But I've had other health issues, been sick, and it's just been a crappy 2 months, which is why I haven't really posted any of the videos. And there have been family issues too. Life is just being life over the past few months. But things are cool. I just have to do those things, that I just talked about, practicing, learning songs, individual songs, and trying to build on that further, put the next layer of the foundation on, so to speak, so I can progress. And hopefully, by the end of the year, I've got some of those issues, I've overcome some of those issues, and I know I've set some bars for myself in some of the earlier videos. I didn't get a chance to go out to Fiesta this year, do the blues thing. I couldn't go, and but maybe by that time next year, St. Patrick's Day, and then Fiesta next year, which is another 7-8 months, I'll have those issues overcome, and I'll be able to go out and do those kind of things and start getting some practical experience with some things. So that's something to look forward to, something to build towards. And one thing that I have started doing over the past few months, so I kind of got interested in wanting to collect harmonicas. Now, that all came about because my wife likes to go out, and she likes going garage sailing and going to antique stores and stuff like that. Well, if you're a guy, rarely are you afforded the opportunity to look for stuff that you're interested in at those kind of locations. I mean, if you've ever been to a garage sale, you've been to a garage sale. An antique store is pretty much the same way. But I figured, and it kind of just came to me, if she's going to go do that kind of stuff anyway, and she's going to drag me along to it, and I like to window shop too, don't get me wrong, when we go out or whatever, but then I'll go, and it gives me something to look for myself. Along with the, just the general, I can always keep my eye out for old comics and anything that might be kind of collectible, pipes and stuff like that. But figured, why not harmonicas? So, I guess a month ago now, maybe a little over a month ago, we started going around to antique stores, and actually what really started it, we went up to Bernie, which is a little town kind of north of San Antonio. It's not too far away, and they got a bunch of antique shops there on the main little thoroughfare in the little town. It's a real small place, and it was kind of neat going into some of those places, just seeing older stuff, but it was kind of boring too if you're not looking for something specific. My friend's always looking for just knickknacks and stuff, but I was like, well, hell, if we're going to do this anyway, I'll just look for harmonicas. Maybe I can find some. Maybe I'll get lucky someday and I'll happen onto something that might be, real collectible or valuable. And if not, maybe I'll happen upon some that are just older, just maybe need a little bit of work, and be a cheaper way for me to get more harmonicas. New harmonicas aren't expensive by any stretch of imagination, but what the hell. So the next weekend we kind of did the same thing. She took me we went to Kerrville, and looked around a bit, didn't really find much, and then I figured, well, hell, let's go to New Braunfels. New Braunfels is a German town, and if any place would have harmonicas or those kind of instruments in those kind of places, in antique shops or whatever, frickin' that place would. So we went up there and walked around for a few hours, and walked along really the main strip of the town in not New Braunfels, but Fredericksburg. I'm sorry. If you've ever heard of Fredericksburg, Texas, or Fredericksburg Peaches, or Oktoberfest in Texas, that's one of the big places that'll always pop up. But we just kind of spent time on the main road because we only had a few hours, and we didn't really see anything because it was more just touristy stuff. So we'll have to hit back up there at some point in the future, find out where like the real antique kind of places are, and hit those a little harder. We found a flea market outside of town, coming back towards the interstate, and really not a flea market per se, just a place some old rundown barn where somebody had a bunch of crap thrown in it. And I did find a chromatic, a Honer, was it Harmonica, I think it is. I didn't really get any details of it, and I didn't take any pictures. I should have, but the guy was wanting $75 for the thing. And he had a couple of other harmonicas, a marine band, but it was dented, and the comb was busted, and he was ridiculous. But the Harmonica was in pretty good shape and had the box and everything, so that might be a place I didn't get it, but I'll maybe have to head back there at some point in the future, and when we go back up there looking at places, stop in and see what's what. The next weekend, we actually, no, I got to back up because the weekend before we went to Fredericksburg, we went to Austin and went to the Austin Antiques Mall and looked around there, and it was a great place because there was a lot of stuff in there, a lot of different kinds of stuff, not just like furniture, but everything, furniture and clothes and collectibles and curios and jewelry, and I mean all kind of stuff in this place. And found some harmonicas. Initially, I found a Honer Golden Melody, not an old one, but it has had a plastic case and a plastic comb, and it not an antique, but they were selling it for $20, but I didn't get that one. I found a Honer Marine Band tremolo harmonica. They wanted $50 for that. It was in pretty good shape, had the box and everything. But what I got was, it was in a case, and it kind of stood out to me because I didn't really know anything about it. I got this harmonica here. It's called the American Ace, and it's made by F.R. Hotz, and it's a German harmonica. And I bought this one because I didn't know anything. I'd never heard of F.R. Hotz before. All I'd heard about is your major harmonica brands, Honer and Seidel, and the newer ones, Suzuki and Lee Oscars and that kind of stuff. But I never heard of F.R. Hotz, and I was like, well, that looks kind of curious. So I looked at it, and it was in kind of rough shape, but it was all in one piece. And the harmonica is right here. It's got, I think they're stainless steel. It might be chromed, but I think it's stainless steel covers, brass reed plates. It's got the wood comb on it. So I bought it for $20. Had some rust on it. You can still see one of the spots right there. I was like, well, I'll buy it, bring it home, I'll take it apart, look at it. I blew through it at the place. I know that that's not really hygienic, in the world of that kind of thing. But I wanted to make sure that it still played. And it did. So I got it, brought it home. I figured, well, I'll just make this. I'll have this be my first foray into, cleaning, restoration of harmonicas. So that's what I did. I spent the next week kind of messing around with that. I took it apart and cleaned it, and I refinished the comb, resealed it, and sanded it. And, it's an F. But I had fun messing around with it, taking it apart, looking at it, and cleaning the plates, and trying to get the rust off, and just doing different things, restoring it, and making it, you know, sanitary again, and working on the wood and everything else. So I was like, you know, this could be something that I could do as a hobby on the side. And I was trying to figure out too, and this is just kind of gee whiz information, because the label is faded, and part of it is missing from the largest 2-part box. Part of it's missing from this side of the box. But looking up the actual brand on these harmonicas, this side here would have a picture of a plane. And when they started making these back in the 30s, I think 20s or 30s, if I'm remembering right, the plane, it was a biplane. Now you can buy them. They're made in China, the same brand. It's not made by FR Huts anymore. It's a Hohner thing, and even back then it was kind of a subsidiary of Hohner. Hohner bought them out. Anyway, but looking at the rest of the box, if you can kind of see, there's this little like dimpled cobblestone pattern on it in different places. And looking at pictures of the older harps on the internet of this particular model, I think this one was made in probably the 30s or maybe 40s, because those were the ones that had this kind of cobblestone pattern on the paper in the box. And the box is in pretty good shape. It's got a little separation here, and I need to kind of preserve it. But it was kind of fun, kind of cool, something interesting, and looking up the history on that kind of stuff, you know. And it cost me $20. Then last weekend or week before last, went around to some other places near San Antonio, found some of the bigger flea markets here, and I found an old Hohner old standby. It's not a pre-war model, but it's pre-90s model because it's got a wood comb. This is also one that they still make, this brand Old Standard, but it's got the old-fashioned cover plates. But it's not pre-war because the trademark on the back where it's got the hands and the little circle there's no star in the circle. So, but it's got the original box. I got this, you know, $20. I haven't taken this one apart yet because I need to get the right kind of tools and stuff to restore it and whatnot. But it plays. It's in C. Sounds pretty good, you know. So, but looking at the box and the harmonica, this one, I know it's pre-1990s, but this one's probably from maybe the 60s or 70s. So it's not super, super old, but kind of fun, kind of cool. Just something that I do that's kind of fun now whenever we go out on the weekends doing this kind of stuff. And I found a few other things. I found that 2 places were selling a Hohner Echo harp, an older model of an Echo harp. It's double-sided. It's a wider harmonica, double-sided, 2 different keys on the same harmonica. That if I go out and buy a harmonica next time, I'll probably go back and see if I can't find one of those again. But just something to keep me interested in the harmonica and kind of branch out into doing other stuff, you know, repairing or restoring them, that kind of thing, learning how to do all that whole thing. Because it's not really expensive, even buying the stuff for that, you know, it's relatively inexpensive to keep, just to mess around with the hobby. So, anyway, I've been rambling long enough. I'm not going to say I'm going to post video like I did before, you know, try to do it weekly or whatever. Whenever I get the knack or the urge, I'll post up a video. The channel's still going. I'm still practicing the harmonica and still doing stuff with the harmonica. So do check back from time to time. Maybe I'll show interesting things, talk about some things that I have found or whatever. And because looking with that first one, the one that I showed you, the American Ace, looking at the harmonica research, it's really kind of hard to track some of this stuff down, even having the internet. So, and when you find stuff, it's pretty interesting, just reading about the history of it, trying to track down how old something is just by what you got, So, but stop back by for that kind of stuff, and as I get better with playing or whatever, I'll throw up some different things to show you my actual playing instead of just rambling and talking about some harmonica stuff so much. Anyway, I'm still rambling. Medication, man. It does. It makes me want to just chatter. Anyway, thanks for watching. I do apologize again for the length of time between this video and the last. I'll try not to go so long anymore. But do stop by for new and interesting things, and if you have anything to say, or especially when it comes to harmonica repair and restoration and history, if you have any place or tips or tricks or where to go help look for that kind of stuff, please leave it in the comments. It would be much appreciated. And again, I do apologize if I'm slurring my speech at all. And then it makes my mouth dry, which makes it harder to play the harmonica too, because I can't play for very long stretches at a time. Anyway, I'll see you next time.